good thing that we did check. Okay. See, that's why this mic was working just until 2 minutes ago, and then it just decides all of a sudden it doesn't want to work. So, no problem. Okay, all right, perfect. So now I hear myself and we are good to go. Perfect, perfect. All right, how's everybody doing? Welcome to another episode of the AI or Buy Daily Growth Clinic. Daily Growth Clinic. Yes. Consultants Without Borders, Daily Growth Clinic. Okay, so daily growth space, I want to call it. It's not a clinic, like space. We should just keep on making everything better every day. And the daily growth space is definitely where I want to invite all of you to join us. If you want to get closer to your own mission, to your own dreams, to your own desired outcomes, this is the space for you, where we talk about strategies, we talk about the most proven methods that are available to companies, to the most elite sector of the economic class, that they leverage on a day-to-day basis to create their financial freedom, their time freedom. We are just bringing the same strategies to you, and we're not selling you anything. This is a show, this is a time, this is a space, this is a power hour where you get to hear what is going to help you get closer to your own dreams quicker and make them happen, instead of just keeping them in your headspace, bringing them out to that real life. Okay, that's the trick of the game, because everybody's trying to do this. And then the thing is, we are all trying to do it just by externally running and constantly trying to make things happen for us that we feel are happening to us. So we keep on trying to manipulate these situations, whether it's at work, in relationships, and all of these things. And that's literally from the 6 basic human needs that we keep on repeating, because this has to be kind of built into the system. If you're going to be doing it on your own, you must build emotional mastery, which means you have to know why you do things the way you do things, or why you don't do things. So anytime we're trying to externally control the outcome, the situation, so that it turns into our favor in any shape or form, we are really trying to build certainty. And that certainty is literally the antithesis of growth, which is what everybody wants to experience, because you cannot grow by being certain. The first requirement, the first prerequisite for any journey is the underlying risk-taking mentality and mindset that is required for you to just accept that I'm going to face unknowns out there. I'm going to have to face things and events that I have not experienced before. That is by virtue what growth is. See, what I realize in so many clients is that everybody wants to grow, yet they don't want to go through the pain of growth. That's the certainty element that I keep on referring to. Everybody wants to experience that new level of freedom, the next level of income. Everybody wants to experience the better relationship, but they don't want to go through the pain that they must. Everybody wants to go stand on the podium of the Olympics, but they don't want to go commit themselves to 5 hours a day for 7 years every day, including on Christmas Day. They don't want to do that commitment, but then they love it when they see the person actually holding the trophy. Or everybody wants to have the nice car or the nice house, but they don't want to do the hard work, and they don't want to risk it when they have to. Okay, see, those are what we call internal conflicts. And internal conflicts, my friend, are exactly what are keeping you at bay, or what are keeping your dreams at bay, your goals at bay. All right. uh, well, since I do enjoy trolls that are just trolling, why not give a little bit of spotlights to Mr. What is it? Palot, that says, I look like Joe Biden. I don't know if to take that as a compliment or otherwise. But yeah, I mean, do I look sleepwalking to you right now? Am I sleepwalking, or do I look like I'm sleepwalking? I don't know. And yes, good morning to Nassim. Good morning to you again for joining us. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Today is February 25th, 2025. Wow, we got two 25s. That's going to happen 12 times this year. This is one of them. Thank you for being with us. And I hope wherever you are on this beautiful planet, you're having a great, great, beautiful day. And I hope you're ready to go on a 1 hour journey. It's about 40 minutes as of right now. Any of it that you can live, any of it that you can't, you could always come back and watch us live. If you feel like growth, fulfillment, success, and wealth are things that you desire in life, this is what we're talking about all day, every day. You know, how to take massive actions instead of just contemplating on the space of, you know, lacking myself, of fearing myself, fearing the possibilities by doubting myself. Completely tongue twisted there. So we do that all the time, every time. And this space we are creating here together through 6 different platforms and 14 different outlets. It doesn't matter if you're the only one watching this or there is hundreds of people in the room with you. What matters is that this conversation is just for you, my friend. It is not for anybody else. I'm here literally giving my time for you, advocating for you so that you take the massive actions required for you to get to your own dreams and outcomes quicker. And there's nothing we are selling you here. I keep on repeating this because there are people that come in, hop in and hop out, and these videos are all live. They're not actually pre-recorded. Maybe I should actually somehow include this somewhere. I want you to understand this is live and not pre-recorded. So I can read the messages from people who watch us on our platform below. This is our handle on YouTube. So if you're there, you could send us a live comment. I'll see it. On any other platforms, unfortunately, we don't. That's the technology's limitations right now. If anybody knows a way for me to see everything, I'll be loving to hear from you. Oh, hello, squirrel. Squirrel outside. I love them. They're so adorable. Who remembers Peanut? You know, Peanut almost was that finishing hero shot that won Trump's run to the office. That was Peanut was a beautiful contributing personality in that process. And yes, he was a squirrel. I love squirrels more ever since Peanuts. What a beautiful story Peanut was. Look into him. Very inspirational and very, yeah. Look into Peanut. Anyways, so today's conversation, what are we going to talk about? Let's talk about some more of your questions, because it is not fair that we keep on getting more and more questions, yet we do not get to answer them, because we're talking about, I mean, still hopefully what gives you a lot of value. Hopefully you're getting a lot of value, which is why you write us these beautiful questions. We live based on right now. Okay, let's see. Mr. Eric Thompson relationships and networking question. Interesting. So Eric Thompson is from Dallas, Texas, and he's basically, let's read his question. I've poured everything into my business, but my partner doesn't understand why I work so much and thinks I should get a real job. Wait a second. Is your own business not a real job? Is it not paying you? Let's see. It's causing major tension in our relationship. Wow. I feel you there. How can I get them to see my vision and support me instead of making me feel guilty? Eric, brother, it's really kind of difficult with just 3 lines for me to understand what is happening behind the scene. However, I want to share with you that having people that support your vision and believe in your vision is usually a blessing that not many people who have become visionaries and founders, when you study their stories, have had. As a matter of fact, the few that have had the support of their partner or their family, they were lucky if they were. Those are very, very seldom found. And when they are, they're just anomalies. I want you to understand, by default, anytime you're trying to do something that falls outside of the predictable patterns of yourself and of the generations, so of your family, of your ancestors, anytime you want to do anything kind of way out of the bounds of that environment, of that paradigm, you're always going to have pushback. And the reason for it is not because people around you don't see what you see. Obviously they don't. If they did, they wouldn't. But it's really because they're trying to hold on to, with dear life, to the certainties that they did have. So this is a prevalent conversation that actually becomes very important even in mental challenges and mental disorders, because they are disorders. They're not like, it is basically when we throw our mind out of order every time it happens, we are going into mental disorder. So a lot of human mental disorder and depression persists because the certainty and our knowing that what is about to happen, even though I know it's a bad outcome, it's not ideal the way I want it, it's not desirable, that certainty that, okay, at least I know it will not be worse, is always what keeps people from actually experimenting with things that are very drastic and out of their possibility of existence in realities that they experience. That's why, by the way, visionaries usually have to fight the society to actually become visionaries. And essentially, wherever you are, at whichever stage of life you are, you're always, by trying to break through to the next level, you are a visionary to the people around you, because you're having a vision on which you're actually taking action where they're not. And they're holding on to, with dear life, to their certainties that they want to not let go of, albeit go get a regular job and work a regular job that pays you maybe more than what you're earning right now, or actually it will actually not even pay you more, but it will free up your time so I could actually spend more time with you, because they're not seeing a couple of things that you are, which is a better possibility, B, as you're saying, your passion that you want to follow. And fear of unknown is very right. Nassim says that is what essentially is what keeps people holding on to, with dear life, to certainties. So oh wow, my jaw muscles were really, really tight. I just realized there was so much tension here. But this is the level of presence that I want you to be in. I'm having a conversation with all of you, and I must be very present of my own state, because if I am, for any reason, tense in any part of my body, that means that I'm not going to be able to perform and function the way I need to be, where I need to show up for every one of you. So I want you to catch yourself and correct yourself and correct your course the way I just did. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. Doesn't matter who you're speaking with. When anybody you speak with who is worthy of your time sees that you take the time to correct yourself immediately when you catch yourself saying something that is not what you actually want to align with, you just move so much in their books, because they see that you're a person that takes accountability and is aware of what you're doing, albeit very subtle and physically in your own body, or even more subtle mentally in your own mind. Because what we respect the most from humans is when they are able to take responsibility, and that's a very honorable thing that we love to see in other humans, and we have always valued that. So we pay a lot of respect to our service people, because they take such a huge responsibility to provide protection for all of us to be able to live in freedom and experience life the way we want to. That's very critical, because they are the responsible people, the leaders that take on the risk and dedicate themselves. So I want you to understand that when you are able to lead yourself is the moment that you can be looked at as a leader externally. There is no other way to do this. And that's the difference between a true leader, and the difference between a true leader actually and somebody who wants to pretend like they lead and they just demand respect, and the ones who are given respect and they're looked up to. The difference between them is literally that, is whether they are able to lead themselves, or are they just barking out noise and ordering people to do things. Are you the one that's going to take the shot and just get up and just put your fist in the air when every hormone in your body is going with cortisols and adrenalines and it's fight or flight? What are you doing? Are you going to flight, or are you going to scream and say fight, fight, fight? That's what makes a real leader, to manage your own state, which means that then all of a sudden a whole nation is going to rally behind you, because they're like, that's a person that knows how to lead themselves, which means now I could actually stand behind him. Which, by the way, that was a turning point in the US elections. When that attempt happened on Trump, literally after that, Elon came out and made the public declaration of endorsing him, and his declaration and his endorsement just opened this floodgate of everybody else. Vivek, and then there was the Tulsis, and then there were the Kennedys, and it became a coalition of left and right. It doesn't matter where you are. It's just if you're standing for growth and leadership, then this is the party that is being built. And that's why it was an overwhelming win. I don't care who says what. It was an overwhelming, just beautiful show of the majority speaking, which is not the case anywhere else in the world. I'll tell you, not even in Canada. That's not even the case in Canada. I'm from Canada, and she there is no elections there that, people are surprised. You don't choose in Canada your prime minister that is pretty much like our president. You just vote for the party, and the party chooses its head of the party to be the head of the country, which is very, very weird. Because this is funny conversation, and we'll get back to everything, but this all connects with each other. I want you to understand how precious freedom is. This comes from somebody like me that is coming from a place like Iran, which is an absolute dictatorship, in cloak of having elections. wearing the cloak. And then I come to Canada and I see the prime minister, who is the person calling all the shots and making all the decisions, is being really held up by a minority party as a minority government. I don't want to get into the fine details of this, but I want you to understand people didn't vote for the prime minister to be a majority decision maker in Canada for like 10 years. For the past 7 years, he was held up by a minority government party that together they formed a coalition. And then when shit got so real and so crazy a few months ago, when Donald Trump came and he's like, you know what, your craziness up north is enough. We don't want to have any more of this. We don't tolerate it. The prime minister stepped down. He resigned as the polls were dropping. The country's economy is going down. Everything's going down. I'm just trying to talk to you about leadership. No taking responsibility. He resigns. But then how democratic Canada is that now a person who's not even a member of the parliament and not even elected is about to become the head of the Canadian Liberal Party and the next Prime Minister of Canada. Believe it or not, this true story is happening in Canada. So people of Canada don't get to have an election. No, because a coalition is formed against the will that is holding the country hostage. And this is Canada, people. I'm not talking about Iran. I feel like Iran and Canada are no different right now. And this is a heavy statement to make. I know so many of you watching on our Instagram channel, you're from Canada or you're from Iran, one of these two places, or US. Essentially 90% of my audience is from these three places, on over 1,000 people on all different platforms that we have. So I know what I'm talking about is probably resonating with you in one way, shape, or another form. Yet people are just so quiet. Nobody cares, especially in Canada. So I'm just telling you how delicate it is to have real leaders that take responsibility in a system. By the way, I now realize, having been in Florida for the past 4 months, how different truly United States of America all these 50 states are. And yes, go 51st state. That is my vote. You may be delusional and you may want to go crazy, but I just want to tell you right now, Canada does not have a democracy. Canada does not have even a government that is chosen by the people. And it is still under the watch and a part of the UK. So we are not independent. Canadians are not independent. Canadians right now have a direct dependency to the British royal family. So my question is, why shouldn't that allegiance and dependency be on USA? They're our biggest trading partners. They have way more freedoms than we do. They have way more prosperity than we do. The crime rates in Canada are skyrocketing right now, despite the control on gun laws that are very draconian in Canada. Yet, US in Florida, the amount of violent home invasions and like just mugging people and carjacking in the middle of a street. What are you talking about? These things are like only in movies in Hollywood. I have not seen or even heard that here on the news, and the news loves these things. The news eats these things alive, because when it bleeds, it leads. And that's a marketing strategy. That's why the news always is showing like bad events and bad occurrences. So they would show these things. There is not happening here as much as it is in Canada. When you actually go per population, per capita, you'll look into it. Especially within the past 4 years, Canada has become absolutely crazy. Maybe this conversation today needs to be about freedom and needs to be about your awareness as a citizen. I don't know, because that's what I'm saying. Amazing leaders lead themselves, and by leading yourself, you don't act like a non-playing character, NPC of a video game who just comes to work, goes home, comes to work, goes home, and like those games that we used to play, the people in the background that would just go back and forth, and you would go in between their way, and then they would like keep on hitting you, like just waiting for you to move out of their way so that they would continue. Don't be a friggin' NPC. Like, think a little bit for yourself. Don't believe everything you see. That's a true leader. Like, in the world of business, in executive consulting world, they say if you don't have at least 3 possibilities, just by having 1 or 2, you're still having a coin flip, which is just gambling. That's not making a decision as a leader. And most people are living their lives day to day, minute to minute, with just giving themselves 1 possibility, 1 choice. Remember, I was telling you, 98% of the human population is single-dimensional beings in accordance to the CIA, the most powerful intelligence agency on the planet. So this is not stuff that I just like to make up and bring to your attention. I'm literally telling you, and I keep on saying this all the time, anytime anybody wants to have any questions or more sources to study into based on what we say, it is our job to go do the research for our clients so that they don't have to. And then we always provide them the source material so that whenever they're ready to make any commitment, they know where the information is based on and what it's based on. So I'm doing this for free every day for the community. We are giving back. We are coming here and sharing with you everything it is that we learn. It makes no difference. If you feel like you need more resources on what we are talking about, I'm not making anything up. I'm nobody to make things up. I don't make any claims to know anything. We just research and we just give you, not from 1 school, not from 2 schools, not from 3 people. We go and study everything under the sun that has to do with growth, success, wealth, and most importantly, fulfillment. That's what we study. And we don't study from 1 school or 1 teacher. We go to everybody. Anybody on this planet who's doing it, who's charging and willing to teach us what they know, we go and learn from them. That's why we are full-time researchers. So I'm just letting you know, I'm not selling you anything here. I keep on repeating this. As a matter of fact, this is an absolutely unbelievable space for you if you are on the path of growth, success, fulfillment, and wealth. Because what you're getting here is completely researched, curtailed information that is practical, actionable, that makes a huge difference if you took even 1 part of 1 video that you just listened to for 15 minutes in your life. And I'm saying this because I'm not selling you here. I have 100% confidence because we are getting paid for this $550 per hour to do this for our clients. I just want you to understand that you're not being sold anything here. This is our way of paying back to our community. This is our way of saying thank you. This is our way of saying there are good ways, there are good humans, there are good people on this planet. And it's not only us, there are others too that are doing the work for you so that when you're ready, you will take what you need out of it and then as tools, use it to build your own dream, build your own kingdom, build your own life. Nobody's telling you here, if you pay attention, not once do I say what is right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. When people say something is right or wrong, they're just judging themselves by seeing something within you that they don't like or like. That's all it is. There is no right or wrong. We just believe in our world that of breakthrough and executive strategic consulting, that there are only empowering and disempowering habits and loops and patterns. So What you're doing, what you're believing, is it empowering you or is it disempowering you? That's all there is. And by the way, the answer to that question, is it empowering or disempowering, is only possible to even be deduced when you first have a goal and an intention. Because something that will be good for you will not be good or empowering for somebody else. And that is the truth of life. That is the truth of reality. That is why we do these, because I want to have enough of these conversations with enough of the questions, with enough of you stepping up and showing up and here just coming on the videos and asking your questions so that we could give you your version that you need, because it is not one size fits all as a formula. Everything is, but when you're trying to apply it, everybody thinks in their own mind because of the single dimensional practice of living every day that my situation is unique than everybody else. Whatever shit he's talking about right now is useless for me, is not good for me. It's probably good for somebody else, whatever he's talking about. Everybody thinks that. I want you to know everyone thinks their problems are unique and it is only their problems and nobody else has it, until you realize that human beings are so predictable because of the patterns that we actually engage ourselves in mentally at the first level, through the words that go through your mind that create statements, sentences, and they create meanings, and the meanings create emotions. Those emotions tell us whether we should or shouldn't do something. And because of a persistent way that we as humans show up, either doing something or not doing something, after consistent enough amount of time passes, usually between 13 to 15 months, then the natural byproduct of what you're doing or not doing becomes the experience of life that you're having today. So I want you to understand that no matter how good of a life you have, or if you're not having a desirable life, it is only because of the things you've been committed to doing and not doing for the past 15 to 13 months that have now compounded and gotten themselves to the life that you're experiencing today. Very important for you to understand this. Because if you want to actually create any kind of change in your life, it is critical that you understand that you must be able to recognize patterns. That's why I was having a whole day of conversation just on pattern recognition. Right? It is so important that you recognize that. Pattern recognition is your single most powerful ability as a brilliant mind that you could gift yourself. So that you're not running on autopilot, essentially, and you're aware of everything that is coming out of your mouth and what is happening in your environment. Because what comes out of your mouth is an indicative sign of what is going on in your mind. And a lot of us are not even analyzing the words that come out of our mouth when we start saying anything that follows I. It's so important. Please pay attention to this 1 minute. Whatever you say that follows I, at a subconscious level, becomes your reality that you will experience. So I am ... whatever you say, or I am not ... whatever you say, that will be the truth. See, the great Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford company, car company, says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. This man is one of the biggest men in the US history. He's the father of the modern day automation lines. and he says something that I don't want you to take in lightly. I want you to take in with literally a whole grain of salt, but take it deep. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Like, we're not even going to fight you. No problem. You think you can't? No problem. You can't. You're right. Because the people that, you know what, the people that do whatever it is that you're saying you can't, you know what's the difference between you and them? Whatever you think you can't. I'm not even going to like go in it. I can't lose weight. I can't stop smoking. I can't find a job. I can't study. I can't make money. Any of these things. Doesn't matter. There's a million of them. Everybody has their own. I can't find the right partner. I can't find love. So the difference between you and the person that is experiencing what you say you can't is that, they just tell themselves, I can't. Literally, that's the difference. And before they tell themselves they can, at a higher level, you have to think that I am, not that I can. So instead of I can be healthy, you say I am healthy. And when you tell yourself that enough times, next time you're going to go for that sugary drink, your brain is going to say, whoa, wait a second. I just told everybody I am a healthy person. Is this a healthy choice that I'm about to pull the trigger on? You will become more present, and you will, by telling yourself the I statements, we call them identity statements. So the I stands for identity. Anything that you put following the I becomes your identity. So you want to make sure that anytime you say anything after the I, it is an empowering statement. Never, never say a disempowering statement after I. Even when you're not feeling well, if you have any kind of imbalance within your body, you don't use the words I am ... any words that are disempowering, because your brain is issuing the word orders, and as these are spewed out, the ears are picking them up in real time, and because it's your own voice that it's so safe with, it goes right into your subconscious mind as the truth, and it reinforces whatever it was that you were about to say, even again and again and again. And imagine some people have been saying shit that is disempowering, following the I, the identity I, for decades in their lives. So even when you're not feeling your best, you just, at best, instead of attaching a word to the state, say, I am detoxing, or I am healing, or I am resting, not the other alternatives. Do not use those words, because epigenetics and quantum physics are now showing us that literally what you think, and most importantly, what you say through the words that you utter out of your vocal cords and your mouth, that actually turn into vibrational frequencies stronger than the ones that started with as thoughts in your mind. They're showing now, both of them, the epigenetics, that at a genetic level, those start working on how your body's genetics up and down regulate themselves. How do I tell you this? You guys got to start studying some Bruce Lipton, Professor Lipton. He's done so much studies on this. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Nassim Haramian. Like, do yourself a favor And instead of studying stuff that are not making any difference in your life, understand, if you have doubt in what I'm saying, or if people like me are saying this and you have doubt, it is your responsibility to look into it as a real leader, not to just dismiss them as, oh, I don't agree with this, this is not true. A part of you must 100% be resonating with something that I'm saying, which is why you're still with us. And that part of you is the part of you that deserves its fair share of giving your attention and time to this matter, to do your own research, your own way, find out what you want about it. Read a book about it. Listen to a few other podcasts about it. Don't just take my words for it. I'm not here selling you nothing. I don't have anything to sell you. I don't care what you do with your life. Go do whatever you want. I'm here to just support you. If you're here for growth, if you're here for success, if you're here for wealth, and if you're here for fulfillment, that's what I'm here for. If you don't want these, no problem. Go on, live your life. I love you. Thank you so much. Hope that you have a beautiful one. But if you do want any of these, or ideally all of them together, then there are a lot of ways that you can get there. And I'm presenting the best findings that we have put, like, for the past 18 years of our lives, studying, researching, bringing together, producing, creating, recreating, serving, deploying, testing, improving, rising on them for 18 years. And we've built businesses out of them, multiple businesses for ourselves and hundreds of our clients that we've helped. I'm just bringing all of that to you guys for free. I'm not asking you for anything. So I want you to understand that, yes, I may not resonate with you. Yes, you may not dig the hairstyle or the look, or why is he wearing this instead of wearing a bow tie and a tie and talking to us. I will do those too. Sometimes I just like to be chill. Sometimes I like to dress up. That's the thing. When you have the freedom in your life to be who you are, because you have freedom of money and time, you get to experience your life any way you want. That's a blessing that we've been blessed with. That's why I get to do this. I get to show up every day for an hour to give back to you, to our community, to every one of you, to just one of you, to Nassim, to one of you, to any of you who is here with us. This is the thing. We are here for you. So, Eric, your question just opened a whole can of worms. So we went from the difficulties of opening your own business and without the support of your partner, to leadership, to the fact that true leaders are always actually opposed. You know, Henry Ford, when he actually started his automations of manufacturing process, you know, his intention, his mission was to make automobiles, vehicles, so low in price so that the mass population can actually end up having and owning a vehicle. Every family, he said, should own a vehicle. Look at it. It only took 100 years, about 100 years, and we're already way past his mission. Now every family in every household in North America has minimum 2, 3 sometimes cars. So that point, I think, was hit about 60, 70. So it took only about 60, 70 years for him to achieve a dream. But I want you to understand, when he set on that goal, do you think everybody was like up and clapping for him? No, there were people who called him an idiot. His own financiers, family, and friends told him, you've gone crazy. You've gone crazy. So the thing is, you have to understand that you're not here to please other people. If that's your experience, then so be it. Then continue. But Eric, sounds like you're taking responsibility to be your authentic version of self. And if that's what you're here to experience, then you have to naturally understand that you're not going to be supported by everybody who wants to hold on to their own certainties of their own identity, even though they're living in more pain, than to actually take the chances to expose themselves to, God forbid, maybe more pain, where that's not even a given, and the pain they're living in right now is a certainty. So the certainty of living in the current pain in exchange for maybe having more is nuts. It's called learned helplessness. And there were so many experiments, psychological experiments, that were done with dogs especially, and with humans initially, when the researching was not as strict as it is today. It is a thing, my friends. And that's why 98% of the human population are living in a single dimensional possibility of life, and they're constantly suffering despite how much success, money, and health they're gifted with. So you're ready to lead yourself, you're ready to lead your generations onto a new path that you want to pay forward and create. If you are, you must be ready to take the heat, because there's gonna be almost everyone that will try to oppose you. And there is a rule for this. First, they'll ignore you because they're like, yeah, this guy's going crazy, don't listen to him, just let him be, he's gonna go back to his own mind. And then they're going to start making fun of you when they see you're not giving up and you're trying to break generational curses that to them, or generational patterns that to them, it's like the natural thing. Why are you trying to even do something different? So first they'll ignore you. Then when they see you're not giving up and you're still being persistent, they're going to start making fun of you. And this is, by the way, family. This is partners. This is friends. This is everything. Then there is a point that you get ready for it, my friend. They will start fighting you or putting obstacles on your path. And that's exactly what sounds like you're going through right now. And you cannot give up at this point, because that just means that they're seeing more change within you, which is making them even more uncertain, to the point of now triggering them to get very, very anxious, because now they're seeing the results in you slowly and you're not seeing it yourself yet, possibly. So it is important that at this stage, if you're very committed to why you're doing what you're doing, and if you're passionate about what you want to experience, you double down and you don't give up. Because when you see people around you are starting to fight you on what you're trying to experience as your dream outcome, as long as it is moving in a direction of empowerment, not destroying yourself or harming other people. This is very critical, because there are times that the people around you will fight you if you're hurting yourself. You're going depressed, you're not working, you're going in a negative downward spiral. And that's love, that's community, that's care, that's intervention. That's very good. You want to pay attention to that. But when your intention is set on growth, when your intention is set on wealth, on health, and those around you start not supporting you initially, and then they start making jokes and making fun of you, ha ha ha, look at this person trying to make it into this or that. And then eventually they're going to start fighting you, because now you're freaking them out, because now they're like, who is this person? I don't even know this person anymore. This person, not only they're somebody new, they're actually questioning every certainty that I have on my own life, that I'm holding on to with their life. Because I don't want to change. I don't want to let go of what it is right now. And they're changing rapidly. And eventually, if and when you persist and you persevere and you actually bring the mother load and you bring the delivery and you start showing everybody for it, and now they see that you have become a more capable, a more empowered, a more holistic person, then they will join you. That is the last path. But until then, you cannot expect them to join you. And really, it's really your mission to change and to experience something new, not theirs. So in reality, I would, in this situation, sit down and have just a heart-to-heart conversation. And I'll say, you know, like, I respect that you want more time. For me, this is the reason I'm doing this for our family. I'm trying to do the hard work now within the next 5 years, 10 years. Put a roadmap, what you see within yourself, share it with your partner. So many of us don't have these conversations with our partners. And it's so important. Because in the world of business, it's crazy if you don't have a conversation with your C-suites, with your enterprises, with your executives on a day-to-day basis. But then in our intimate lives, we feel like not talking about our lives is normal. We just, yeah, we are married. Who cares? We have some kids. We have a house together. We have a dog, and we are good. I'm just going to go back and forth. You must actually be able to build a constructive relationship consciously in order, because remember, the quality of the life we experience is only the quality of the relationships we have, not the quality or the quantity of the digits of the zeros in front of the your bank account. It's not about that. There are many, many, many clients that we have that have so many zeros in front of their accounts, yet they're not fulfilled at all. The relationships aren't there with their partner, with their family, with their kids, with their friends. No, there's no relationship. There is no quality of life there. They're constantly miserable and suffering. And there's always something that they want more of, that they don't have enough of, and that's usually money. And so they're living in the fight, in the lack of money, fighting every day to silence all the pain internally that is telling them you're working so hard, yet you don't have love, yet you don't have the connection, you don't have the genuine respect. And that's why it drives many of them to insanity, and the point of which insanity, if you remember, as Albert Einstein says it, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different outcomes. And that many people go to the points of mentally breaking down and doing the ultimate act of ignorance, which is to take the sacred life in weakness. So again, I come from a background of having grasped and grappled with at least my own fair share of the dark night of the soul and the mental imbalances that were very, very severe at one point during especially the peak of COVID, that in Canada we were all under a dictatorship house arrest for a year and a half, where you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't do anything, restaurants were closed, everything was closed. You couldn't even have more than 2 people visiting you, with some stupid draconian laws that they were just playing with us and testing us as guinea pigs. So, yeah. And by the way, studies are coming out, Mayo Clinic and so many journals are now coming out with so many studies that are showing what the severity of all these lockdowns were in USA and in some of European countries, which were not even half as bad as Canada. We have to this day kids that are depressed and people that are depressed, families that were lost and broken apart. So my heart's with every one of you, and I want to tell you that I traveled down that path too and lost so much, yet I chose to focus on what I found, which was a more authentic version of who I wanted to be, who I became, and who I got to be, which was even the most beautiful part of this whole thing. It was the curse and the blessing of the pandemic, if you will. So yes, Canada was intense. People ratting on each other and calling the police if you had 3 cars in front of your house. This is like stuff you cannot believe. And then police would come and arrest people. It's just nuts, man. But this is the whole point. I want you to understand that everything we're talking about, the one question that started it all, has to do, everything links to each other, and somehow we got into politics in the middle of it too. I love that. It's just me. I go like everywhere, like politics, epigenetics, quantum physics, business, personal development, and then that's my job. That's what I get to do. That's what I love doing. So I want to just present to you a different dimension, different possibilities, different perspectives, so that you see, hopefully, what different dimensions and possibilities and paradigms are possible within this life that you can also entertain for yourself and create the way that you want your own beautiful heaven, beautiful paradigm. That's the entire idea of this. We're building a global movement. It's a global shift in human consciousness level that has been ongoing and will be ongoing indefinitely. So there is no fighting it, there's no stopping it, it's just happening. If you even go to the Schumann resonance of Earth itself, it has actually increased ever since we've started measuring it, exactly at the times as predicted by Mayans about 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. They had the exact calculations of time in the calendars of at what time will the frequency vibrational bedrock of the quantum vacuum fluctuation raise, and at what exact mathematical intervals of change, to the 25 decimals. I'm not saying this is oh yeah, around to 100 years from now some big thing is going. No, these people were insane with the information that they had. So everything I'm telling you is coming together. There is this shift in the energy of the space of Earth, of the sun hitting its beautiful rays on our skins differently. Speaking of which, of all the animals on this planet, none of them have any skin issues with the UV rays of the sun. Even the ones that don't have fur. And humans are the only ones that are having skin problems because of the sun. And all of these problems started when sunscreen lotion creams started coming out. At the same time that they came out in the 70s and 60s, there was a spike in all of the skin C word that I'm not even going to say. Anyways, your sun is what programs every bit of your molecules. You need it. Get some sun. It is shown in studies that it actually is what activates the vitamin D in your body, which is what your immune system needs, which is what gets you excited, which is what gets you to release dopamine and receive the dopamine in your body and feel happy. That's why anytime you go to vacation to hot spaces, it feels beautiful. That's why when you go to spaces such as Mexico, Cancun, the coastal, such as California and Florida, people are a lot more happy because of the sun that is constantly available to them. It is no secret. And that's why also when you go to countries such as Australia or Canada or the colder parts of the world where they're not getting the sun, and half of the year they're covered in 8 layers of clothing, which I lived that life for over 20 years, there's a huge number of people who are always depressed. There is a direct correlation between the amount and the strength of sun and your level of happiness in life. You have the same number of, even per capita, in the poorer countries of Southern Americas, Latin Americas. There are so many people who are poor, but because they have the beautiful weather, they're still living and they're joyful, like in Cuba. This is nuts. But then you have so many people who are so happy and so wealthy in countries such as Canada, and they're all upset and grumpy also. Everybody's walking around with why? It has directly to do with the sun. The sun is the source, is the black hole that is literally in reverse in quantum physics, that is now emitting the source code into our DNAs. That's why it feels amazing when you go under the sun and you close your eyes and it just hits your skin and you're like, yes, this feels so good. Get yourself some sun. If you don't have access to sun, get yourself some light therapy. lights. These are just lights, LED lights that are special with special spectrums of UV go in front of them. They activate so many happy hormones within you, and they help you with your genetic upregulation of your body. Okay, so today's conversation, well, wait, oh, I have some messages here before I wrap it up. So Nassim says that she's here for herself. What you're talking about sinks right into my thoughts. Oh, perfect. I'm so glad that you're resonating with this, Nassim. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here with us. And I'm glad that you're served. I'm very glad that you're served. So then we have Albuquerque, who says they did the same to Jesus. That is true. That is very true. In the conversation we were having about the visionaries that bring the message of hope, they of course did the same to Jesus. Of course. He was and then that's why, by the way, and by the way, I'm not Christian, I'm not saying this to like as a religious conversation, but in the history of humanity, when you look, Jesus was the epitome of the highest level of human possible consciousness, which is love experience, because even when they were putting him on the cross, he was saying to the person that was putting the nail through him that, my child, I love you. I know that you're doing this to yourself and you don't know what you're doing to yourself and you're hurting. Like, that's why he was one of the greatest teachers of humanity. While he was being tortured, the level of love this man had, and that's why he was fought so deeply, and he was essentially just eradicated by the people who were so certain and holding on to their own status, because they were so fearful that if I'm being seen as God, and what this guy is saying, that not there is one God, every one of you is God, and there is God within you, the kingdom of heaven is within you, they were like, holy shit, this is going to take our business away and the country away. Yes, that's very true. Very true. So we had a mind blown here. And Nassim is saying, yes, that the pandemic was awakening for so many of us. It's very true. Very true. It was awakening for so many of us. And again, Albuquerque Angel here says, New Mexico is sunny, but ain't no one happy. Yes. See, the thing is, there may not be happy. The thing is, now you got to understand, they're still in the 98% of the population, as per the CIA's directives, that are single dimensional. So they're living in that constant experience of going 95% in their own thoughts that are the same today as it was yesterday, 2/3 of which of them are actually focusing on negative, fearful thoughts and lacks. And there's about 60,000 thoughts per day that an average goes through our mind. So imagine 2/3 of those being on lack and fear, then imagine, of course, you're not going to have a happy life. And yes, I'm just saying that sun can help so much. Now, you take the same people as in Albuquerque. If I guarantee you, you go to Toronto, you go to Montreal in the winter for those 6 months, 5 months, you'll see that everybody there is just upset. You will rarely find, even like in nightclubs or in parties, you still see people who need to do so much drugs and alcohol for them to get excited and get happy. You don't have that natural excitement, that bliss, that ecstasy within just coming naturally. That is just such a normal thing. For example, in Florida, in California, in Malibu Beach, in all of these Venice Beach, you know, like there's like music and dancing happening there regardless for years and years. So it's just the energy is 100% there, and it's undeniable, and it's very, very powerful. that is very true. They're so content. I don't know who this was for, but being content is one of the main 4 pillars that we are so keen on delivering to you as a prerequisite of anything else you're about to commit yourself to. Don't do anything else until you can find that you're going to be content with it. And it brings fulfillment, which means the only way it can happen is when you're 100% moving from a place of your higher calling and your authentic place of expression of self, rather than pretending to be things that you were told for decades, which is what breaks the spirit of humanity. And we don't want that. And at one point, we either break and people just turn off themselves, or they actually become rebels and they break through and they just completely change themselves and their lives, and everybody around them would be like, whoa, how did that happen? Anyways, so yes, thank you so much for being with us another beautiful day. It was an absolute it is an absolute blessing that we get to co-create these beautiful power hours with all of you. Let me just read the last comment here too. I think it's different for different people. I'm happy when I go to Maine year-round than New Mexico and it's cold and snowy. Yes, Albuquerque Angel, that is correct, because for you that becomes a change, which becomes the variety, which is of the 6 basic human needs. So anytime you experience variety, for example, for people that live in a hot climate, anytime they go to the ski resorts and the cold, it's a travel experience, it's a journey. It's not your main thing. So change is always fun, and there is no denying that. Again, there are within the 98% of the population that the CIA actually splits the population into the 2 and at 98. There are all these distractions and fun occurrences and journeys we put ourselves on just because we need it. Otherwise, we would completely be, all of us, depressed, and we can't do that. As humans, even if we have nothing, we'll still find ways to have fun because we must. Even when people are depressed, they go through a down, sinking into depression, and sometimes they just get up. Or if you go to funerals, they're crying, they're just screaming, and then then they start smiling, and then they may even laugh for like and then they'll go back to crying, because your body needs to go through these, our mind needs to go through these. So yes, they're very natural. It's just that I want you to understand that sun, vitamin D, very, very critical. So for people that can't get it, you got to do red light therapy, especially in countries that there is not very good amount of sun. We do talk about a lot of these psychological triggers and what actually causes us and gives us the experiences that we have through other episodes. And that's what we talk about a lot on the day-to-day on all of our 14 different outlets, 6 platforms. If you're on YouTube, thank you so much that you're messaging us. And I love that I get to read your messages. And I hope you were served. I hope that you got a lot of value out of today. Until tomorrow, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time again, where we get to talk and delve into, I want to talk about Ikigai tomorrow, which is going to be really good. Let's talk about Ikigai. I'm really happy because it's going to hopefully bring you a lot of value with Ikigai. Okay. All right. So talk to you tomorrow, Wednesday. Have a beautiful rest of the day, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. And my name is Bliss. It was an absolute blessing co-creating this with all of you. Take care. You too, Albuquerque. Thank you for joining us.